Hey, welcome back to another edition of Toxic is the New Masculinity. I'm your man, Terrence J. And to my right, I got my man, Bossy. To my left, I got my man, KY. And we got a special guest in the building today. We got my man, Corey Espy, man. Welcome to the show, bro.
Man? Thank y'all for having me, man. Blessed to be here.
No problem, man. Glad you're able to be here and be a part of this conversation. And and usually, we have a topic we usually are talking about, man. But today it's gonna be kind of like, we getting your story and also just having conversation that go along with it. And so y'all know how preachers do, man. They got to give a title to everything. So, we'll put a tag. If I had to put a tag on this text,
be like Freddie Hanks. Let me graciously suggest.
So, from boyfriend to felon will be the title of this. Is what we got on the flyer. So you guys have seen the flyer and understand, what's going on here. And usually, let me give you a little opening. Usually, I got to let you guys know the title "Toxic is the New Masculinity" is really a play on words. Masculinity is not toxic, but it seems like everybody in the world want to call everything masculine toxic. So, toxic is new masculinity, a conversation amongst men to let you know that masculinity is not toxic. And with that being said, we officially welcome Corey into the show, man. So, just want to jump into it, man. That's a strong title, man, from boyfriend to felon, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, we hear the word felon, there is a mindset that comes along with it. But 9 times out of 10, we never get the story that comes along with it.
Right.
And so just from my knowledge of your story, this happened back when you were a young man, around 18, 19 years old,
right?
Dating a young lady who was
I was in college. She was in high school.
You was in college. She was in high school.
Yeah.
So was that a previous relationship that you had before?
No, man. So when you think about these things, I phrase it like this, because when you think about the average age going into high school, it's 13 to 14 years. The average age of graduating is 17, 18, right? So, and when you think about it and growing up in that time frame, because the average freshman that comes in dates up, the average senior starts to date down. So going into college, the mindset seeing that, because like a sophomore, I would see like the guys be in college come back and still pick up our sophomore girls and do that. So it never really was a conversation of the illegal part of it.
Right.
It didn't have that.
Yeah.
Right. So when you go in and you're doing this stuff, it's not per se a hidden thing, but it's not a talked about thing. Right. Because my senior year in school, I was, a star athlete in basketball.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was dating freshmen. I would go to the house after a basketball game. The fathers would give me money to go take their daughters to the movies and different things. You know what I'm saying? So it never really done till I was facing the situation of it, and looking at the legalities of it, which is peculiar too, because here in other states do have it adopted. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't know is that there's a such thing called a Romeo and Juliet statute. Yeah. Right. And we have it in Texas, which means 2 set of kids who are interacting with each other sexually can walk into a courtroom and come out with 2 different endings.
Yeah.
2 different endings. Right. One being because the Romeo and Juliet statute basically states, and I tell a lot of people, if you go watch the Transformers 4, I want to say the first one, they actually put it in there because it takes place in Texas. And he's like at the time 20 years old. The daughter's like 17. And when Mark Wahlberg goes to say, I'm gonna punch you, but no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call the police. He said, no, we had a pre-existing foundation before I turned 18.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can't have nothing happen legal to me. Well, in my case, there was no pre-existing foundation in there. So then there was a legal preference that was a law broken in the process. And at first, initially, it was a thing where I was offended because the pronunciation has changed in it now. Because back then, earlier, it used to be called statutory.
Yeah.
Just, representing the age bracket of it.
Right.
But because they moved it to a different phrase, now it opened it up to a thing to where it was called sexual assault of a child.
Wow. But,
so now, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt, but think of the implications of that, right? Not to get political, right? Yeah. But when you change it from statutory rape, right? And let's just say the object is to target a particular group of people. Right. And you identify what literally the victim here is a child. Yeah. That puts a whole different perspective. Right. That pretty much puts him in a guilty disposition, right?
Oh yeah, because your mindset.
Yeah. Context means everything.
Right. Yes. I'm sorry. No. Because that's exactly where I was going with it, which changed the ramification of how people perceived it. Right. Nobody looked at it at the fact of that I was out of high school coming. Again, I won't ever argue the fact that it was a law-breaking situation. Right. I did that. Broke the law. But my thing was, because of your Romeo and Juliet statute, the mindset of doing and combining 13, 14 to 17, 18-year-old, now you're creating a space where this is going to be common. Because I started to see it a lot when I went down. There were people that didn't even make it out of high school because of this. Wow. There was a guy that was a football player that I met at 18. The girl that came in was 13. Had an interaction. Something happened when the dad found out, got mad, and said it was rape. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so he went down as a senior right after football season because of it. So again, just like he said, now when you spin it and say sexual assault of a child, now nobody looks at the statutory. Because when you say statutory, obviously you're talking about teenagers in this process. But now when you say sexual assault of a child, now it changes how people mind perceive it. Right. Because now I'm a predator. No matter how you spin it at this point, unless people have access to the details, I'm a predator.
The story behind it. Yeah. And so with that, because you had to register, and also
I went to prison behind it.
Yeah.
And the cold part about it is, you'd have thought that because I had a clean record, I'd never been in trouble. When they dropped the folder onto the desk, it was this, and it had like 2 tickets in there. And the judge told me, he said this. He said, if usually people that come through my court have been to jail, have been juvie, been this and been all kind of trouble. So I think they're kind of stupid. So I would have some leniency toward the fact of they don't know no better. But you got your family here, you articulate yourself well, and you're in college. I think you should know better. So I can't let this go on. And what was the crazy thing was the mom, when she got on the stands, the DA asked her, what do you think should happen? Now, this is after all the testimonies that happened. My family spoke, I've spoken, all this. She said, I don't know. He's not who I thought he was. She thought I was a drug dealer that had influenced her daughter to come that way. And then I found out during a court case, this wasn't the first time they had been through this.
Oh, wow. I've got to ask this question because I'm sorry. I just got to ask this question. Right. What was the race of the young lady?
She was black.
She was black. Okay.
Yeah.
I was curious.
I was pushed earlier to my queens.
Yeah.
I was pushed earlier to my queens.
But you know, you said something earlier, and because I was 17 going to college. So maybe some chicks out there. But and the joke of the matter, you didn't think about it. I was 17 years old. So really, and it was older women there, you know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So just reversing the role, I wonder how that would be. Because would they take it that way? Because like you said, I remember in high school, man, when you left college your freshman year, you really some people hadn't fully left high school.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, you're still going back and forth on this high school deal. Yeah. Because first of all, when you get to college, it's so big, if you're not playing no sports or anything, it's kind of overwhelming.
Yes.
And so you're familiar with high school, and you probably like your sophomore year, you let it go. Yeah. You know,
because mentally you're still the big man on this small campus,
right?
Where you're the smaller man on this bigger campus.
Right.
You're right.
Exactly. I also want to know if proximity of population, like where you from? You're from Tyler.
I'm from Tyler.
So it's small. Yeah. So it's small. When you're in a small town, everybody knows you, right? That I would say that superstar attitude or that superstar favor. I would say that.
Yeah.
You're right. There, right? Because like you said, when you come from a small place like Tyler or a small place like someplace in East Texas, right? And then you go to UT, right? Yeah. That world, that environment is too big to swallow. It's unfamiliar.
Right.
But I think if you're in a larger space, like say LA, like if you're a kid in LA, you coming out of Compton, right?
Yeah.
And then you go to USC.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's not as much as an issue of a transition.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying. Because it's not such of a spotlight on you. Yeah.
Because like in college, I was just like, I heard what you said, right? And I know this is something that dangerous people do, right? People take your perspective, they apply it to themselves, and then take the way they feel across the general population, which is unfair.
Yes.
And which is what I'm about to do, right? So because I came from, at the time, the 4th largest city in the United States when I graduated from high school, right? And I went to, the town was smaller than where I was from.
Right.
I didn't want to talk to the girls in high school. I want a girl in college.
Right.
Particularly one sophomore, junior, senior.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think proximity probably has a lot to do with it too, because you go from a small town to a big university, you want to be what's familiar.
Yeah, but the thing that does happen is, to your point, it's still an interactive perspective, because unless you separate 9th and 10th to a junior high and you have them with seniors and juniors, they're still interactive. Because when you go to the prom, you see more underclassmen than same class there.
Mm-hmm. So the thing is that, like you, when I was a senior, my girlfriend was a freshman. Right. And so there was that, and this was before the whole Romeo Juliet law. Now, under the law, under this current law, we would have fed into the thing, but there was that age gap to the point to where the pre-existing relationship was there, because I dated her from time we was in high school till I was like 27 years old, right? So with that being said, you have that happen where you have that pre-existing foundation together, and then that relationship trickles on. But it all depends on now who calls the shots, as far as you make me mad, I don't like you, and that now we can formulate that story. And then you gotta understand, there is not a situation that any one of the four of us as men can walk into a courtroom and get the benefit of the doubt anyway.
At all.
No,
at all.
There's no story with that. So when you go to court, the mother says, "You're not who I thought you were."
I'm not who she thought she was.
She said that as a compliment to you, right?
She said it as a shocking thing, where I think she finally realized that her daughter was just into older guys. You know what I'm saying? Because again, like I said, during the place of this, I found out this wasn't their first rodeo of this. But because the assumption was, because I found this out even from the apartments I stayed in, because I was the only one in my group of guys that had their own place, which my mama rule was, as long as you're in school, I'm gonna pay you rent and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when they came back and arrested me and I went back, my leasing lady told me the police had been staking me out for 6 months because they thought the traffic that was in my house was drug related.
Wow.
They didn't know. We were just working at the time. We were just working at Sonic, and I was the only one that had a place to go hang out afterwards, where they didn't either stay with their mom or their girlfriends or something like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't even a smoker. So the assumption that was given to her was I was a drug dealer. But when she got in court and found out I was in college, had a mom and a dad in the house, had siblings, I had never been in trouble. I could speak, I could articulate. I had a sense of humor, and I actually had remorse. My mom made me have the remorse before I went in, because my mom said, as a mother, I would have done the same thing to you. And for that, it was a reality check, because I was angry, because I just thought they were messing with me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see the law in it. I just saw, why me? I ain't done it to nobody.
And so cultivating relationship, where'd you guys end up meeting
at a football game. My school was playing her school, and she was getting into it with somebody and hit me.
Wow.
And I looked like elbowed me, and I was like, yo, you just hit me. And she was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. And then so like the rest of the game, she kept making jokes about it, and then she asked for my number when I left.
Wow. So she engaged.
This is really fascinating to me in so many levels, because again, I see in my microcosm of life, right? I'm just seeing so many contrasts about how, because most of you for the most part are from the South,
right.
And I'm like, because you were talking about how seniors dated girls are younger than, and when I was literally thinking about everybody in high school, I graduated with 416 people.
Right.
In my graduating class. Right? And as I'm thinking about all my circle of friends, all of us dated girls that we were graduating with. You didn't date a ninth grader, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm saying just because you didn't date. Like when I'm talking about at our prom, one thing, because like I said, I went in the city school, right? Most of the people at our prom didn't even go to our school. Like your date didn't. Go to our school.
That was the coolest thing right there.
So I'm like, wow. But I mean, you were opening something to me, and I just never even thought about.
Well, because most of it comes from this, and it's a thing I've studied now. Because most of the girls you've come up with that town in small town, what did you say? We all know each other.
Right.
So by the time you become the big man, this new group of women are coming, this group of young girls are coming in, don't know nothing about you. They know everything about, they know if you're the popular guy, the superstar, whatever it is in there, and they're fascinated. So now you have them who are enthralled and just and all over you. Versus the girl you've been with is like,
I know.
That's him.
That's
him.
It's a different world when a girl change your name. I ain't going.
It is.
Hey,
it is. Because I'm telling you, I'm literally going into these girls' house and their parents. Hey, boy, you had a good game last night.
Sure.
Well, how many threes you hit? You forgot watch the movie? Here, boy, go on, give me.
That's facts.
Okay.
That's facts.
You know what's crazy is listening to this. A lot of stuff I would have fell into because it was borderline because I couldn't. It was hard for me to date somebody my age.
That's what I'm
so
saying.
Like when I was a sophomore, I really didn't date a lot because I played so much football. But it was so hard for me to date somebody my age because I didn't look my age.
Right.
So I was like, everybody said, "Man, you look." I'm 62. But everybody said that. But when I was in high school, bro, it was like even in college, they thought I was one of the high school kids coming into college, like he said, dating up. I said, no, I go to school here. I'm like, man,
where your ID?
Like, come on now. But that's crazy.
So how long did you have to serve in prison?
I did 4 years. Because, and here's the thing too, I didn't know a lot of law. So they didn't even have a case because she wouldn't even give them the information. I told on myself.
Oh, wow.
When the police came to my house, my friends saw the police when they come ask for me. Every day my homeboy's brother would get off the bus. I would go wait on him. So he was calling himself, walking himself back around the apartment to walk the police away from me, and I walked right into him. So when he asked about her, I said, yeah, I know her. He said, you mind going down and talking with us? Went down there, sat it there in the room, turned the tape on, and I opened my mouth. Versus now, we go, I'm not talking without a lawyer, different things like that. I went and told when you look at the affidavit, she said she actually ran away. Wow. When I remember one time she had called me and said the police had come to speak with her. She said I didn't talk to him. I didn't really believe it, but when I went down there and after I spoke and then I got out and saw the paperwork, she didn't. All the evidence they had was from my mouth. That's why when folks say the truth set you free, I'm like, no, it got me 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was I saw it was a lawyer teaching in the class full of lawyers, future lawyers, and he said, let me tell you one thing. No lawyer has ever shown up to the police station and said, I'm glad you talked to the cops. They said, always shut up, right? Yeah. But we have this thing now. We get into this conversation as Black men. There's this hierarchy, sometimes a fear of the cops, right? Yes. What could happen? So when they show up, badge, gun on the hip, if I know I'm innocent or I don't think I've done anything, you start talking because you're like, hey, it's not me. It's not me. Because you walk around, whether you knew it or not, you walked around knowing that you fit the description. And what the description is 14 to 65, 5'1" to 6'5", light skinned to very dark complected, slim to big. That's the description, right?
Yeah.
So you in all of that.
Yeah.
We move a lot of times knowing, and your mama, your daddy have these conversations with you. Hey, listen, these things can happen.
Right.
So now police show up. How old are you again at the time?
I'm 19.
You're 19.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm freshly in college. I'm doing the right thing.
Right.
Of course I'm gonna talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, being aware and knowledgeable is everything too, right? Because unfortunately, like, and you probably experienced this more than anybody. There are so many people have a perception of the law, right? And the perception of the law that the law is about right and wrong. And I'm here to tell you, the law has nothing to do with right and wrong. The law is just the law. That's it.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
And so people in their mindset think, well, if I'm right in my perception, then what do I have to lose by saying what I did because I'm right?
Right.
I didn't do like I don't want to give a lot of bring more attention to the case than it is. But we all in Texas. And you know about what happened up in Frisco, right? And the dude from his perception is like, yo, I got threatened. I'm protecting myself.
Yeah.
And everything would point to that, right?
Right.
So it was like, what I got the way? Hey, I was the victim here, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what you went through and what you were saying, right? It seems very clear. Hey, I got threatened. I was the victim. I'm protecting myself, right? So what's the problem? And even when, you know, cops arrest people, what they say, well, if you did something, if you didn't do nothing, why you running?
Why you running?
Right. Yeah. If you didn't do nothing, why you saying so? If you didn't do that, they already put you in that spot for the jump, right? So so you single mothers and all you daddies out there, man, it's imperative teaching young boys about the law. Be quiet, don't say nothing.
So you remember it's a while back, man, and people got a little upset with me in the room when I was talking to you. You remember when the kids that was in Fort Worth, they were upset with the white cop who just handled the girl. She was
when they slammed the girl on the grass.
Yeah. And I said, do y'all understand who taught that little girl? And I don't know if anybody caught this. In that clip, it was two young kids who ran up on that cop. I'm like, are you out your mind?
Yeah.
Because the perception, like y'all said, at that age, you think you have rights. I don't know what's going through your mind and I'm going with this because I told my son my son, highly educated, very intelligent, and sometimes, you know, at that time, you know, Fats, you had to, you know, hey, bro, this ain't the time to fight the battle, even though you're right. And I had to tell him, when you get pulled over, take the ticket because there's no judge, no law, there's nobody out there with you. I said, we'll come home and fight the battle.
Right. That is their word against yours is real.
Yeah.
But youth, that's what happened. Youth and inexperience is a dangerous thing when you come against law enforcement.
Yeah.
100%.
And they know it. And so that's why they were able to pull you into the interrogation room and say, you know what, we have nothing. If we can get him to talk, we can build a case off of him. And it's no longer your word versus anybody else because it's your word. And your word was the only one that stood. So now 4 years. So from 19 to 23.
Well, they kept doing continuations up until I turned 20.
Okay.
And then they finally, I went on and pled guilty. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't play. I didn't even contest it. And then we just had the sentencing. And everybody had convinced me I had never been in trouble, so they just do probation.
Right.
So I walked in that day with my mom, Annie, and them, and just was like, okay, I'll get this probation and I'll figure out how to maneuver through this. I'll move back with my mom and do it. And I walked in that courtroom, that judge said what he said, bang that gavel, and I just heard my mom scream, no! And I looked back and she was on the ground, and like every ounce of blood and feeling left my body, and I just collapsed over. They carried me out of there. I didn't know what I was about to do. Every scary story I've heard about prison, I was like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna die.
Right.
I'm gonna die. Because the thing I couldn't get understanding was this was consensual. Why am I
you were still on
I was still stuck there.
Yeah.
I didn't take anything. Why am I going through this? I didn't understand the law part of it.
Right.
When did you let go of that?
When I got in there and I started talking to it was a point. So going through it, you're considered, you know, a deviant now. So they end up sending me to, after about a year at the first place you go to get classified, end up sending me to a place where they make you do the sort of this rehab thing. You stay there to play the class for 6 months. It was there when I met Dr. Shawana Dorsey, who was Cheryl Swoop's counselor that kind of helped her come out. And it was talking to her because I was combative at first. Every day I went in that class, I was combative. Like I started reading stuff, I started studying, and then all of a sudden you couldn't tell me nothing. Start going to the law library, you couldn't tell me nothing. But I still hadn't accepted the fact that I broke the law. And it wasn't until she was saying, Negro, shut up and just listen.
Wow.
You broke the law. Once you accept that first, then you could deal with the rest of it.
Right.
And that was my reality check.
I think it was your unintentional motives in breaking the law is probably where that disconnect happened.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
You know, when you set out, I'm gonna go rob this store, I get caught. I knew what I was doing.
Right.
You didn't know what you were doing.
You do and you don't, right? Because you notice
what
that.
you're doing, but when you, in your mind,
law wise,
law wise,
right. Yeah.
That's what I say. Yeah. You have a perception what's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Him, all of us at his age would think, hey, I didn't force her. Matter of fact, if y'all seen how many times she texted me, hey, come on over. What did I do wrong?
Because even when the law, because see the part there's a part I missed. I had a pool party at my apartment. There was other adults there that saw. First of all, she built like every other woman there.
Right.
But when the law actually came to the house, when her mother realized, because the brother overheard her, her little brother overheard her saying she was coming there. So when the mother called the law and sent them over there, they came straight to my apartment and asked for her. I said, yeah, she's in here. Came out, took her, said nothing else to me for a month.
Wow.
For a month. Said nothing.
So you're trying to build a case.
Yes.
That's anger right there too.
Yeah.
Did you did you guys ever discuss age while you were?
We did.
Okay.
We did. And it didn't matter to me at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the previous girl that day was like 16, who was back at home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But college took the distance away from that.
See, that's what I said. I ain't even gonna lie. Just when I heard about your story, right? Of course, all things into my mind was, all right, man, you 18, 19, she 14. Conversation. How did you not know that? Like,
know that.
No. I'm getting with you. Like, my thinking is like, was it one of the situations where you didn't know or something like that? But yeah, because again, this just me and my small microcosm of life at that time, right? Dating a 14-year-old would be inconceivable, but that's from a cultural standpoint because we just like dated girls our age, right? Even when I was in college, it was like I wanted to date. It's kind of funny that for practically all my life, I dated girls older, right? Now my wife is 11 years younger. I got married when I was older. Yeah. And
now you start thinking about that down the road. I might have to change my baby diaper and my wife diaper.
You know what I mean? She let me know. I think when I graduated from college, my wife was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
That's sad. You know what I'm saying?
But you know it's crazy how we can get massage because it's I know in Memphis, it was a lot. It's really against the law to back up out your driveway.
Really?
Yeah, I remember. It was.
That's what I said. It ain't about right or wrong.
You know what? It's a lot of little bitty laws that went way back. There's some crazy little laws we don't know about. If a police officer was to pull me over or turn on the lights because I was backing out, he said, "Hey man, I'm gonna write you a ticket for back." Everybody on the street back, So this is
that's one example, right? There's some laws that are just crazy, but then there's some like, and remember Rod? Remember I used to work out. Rod?
Yeah,
I found this by him. I found this through him, like being in the case with him or a witness, right? I had no idea this, man. So he was in the thing for child support, right? Child support case. I was going in for a character witness for him. I did not know in Texas, right? If you're dating a young lady and she has a child that's not yours, and let's say you go to a daddy-son picnic with her son, she can sue you for child support. I had no idea. I did not know that. If you present yourself as a kid's father anyway, they can sue you for child support.
Because we're a common law state by consent.
Right, exactly.
All you have to do is admit to the consent of whatever it is.
100%.
Between marriage, staying, child.
I had no idea. If you just say this,
you won't be going
That's what I'm talking about. How the law works. Like that's why
crazy. I'm just saying, that's crazy.
You have a perception in your mind. Hey, like you could say, like, y'all know I ain't this kid's dad. I just said it. I like him. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
I was not aware.
Well, I gather the Big Brother program ain't working here.
Yeah, no. but you know what though? And so now, if we're at the stage of you around 20 years old, right, and you're having to accept that, hey, this is me right now, what I have to deal with. What was your mental process on that part?
Well, now accepting it, trying to figure out how I'm gonna survive because I've heard the story of what they do to people now. So now there's two things I'm gonna do. One, I'm gonna get with the biggest dude in here and work out. Next, I got to fight real quick. So I got to separate myself. But what I found out in the process of doing that, I had to fight. I got with a big dude. But I slowly became me. because no matter how hard I tried to pretend to be in there, dudes saw through that.
Yeah,
they saw through that because I was I was a very high spirited person.
right.
And eventually, even guards, no joke, on my mother's grave, even the guards started pulling me out. I said, "Man, what are you here for?"
Yeah,
Like everybody's happy around you. Like, what are you doing here?
yeah,
And at that point, the first 3 guards asked me, I lied because I obviously hadn't checked the jacket because they talk about checking the jacket. So obviously I hadn't checked my jacket, so I lied. But then after a while, I couldn't anymore because I felt like stuff kept poking it for me to do it. So after I started just being honest with myself, I started being honest with the people around me. And I started getting this. Dang, boy, I'm so glad they didn't catch me with my baby mama. You know what I'm saying, dude?
Yeah.
So that fear kind of left, and now I could genuinely be me.
yeah.
And that's what I started doing. That's how I got through.
You know, it's crazy how the perception of TV give you, what prison is like. And I'm glad you hear this to show that because nobody, if you hadn't been, the only thing I can take to prison with me is what I've seen and heard, and I have no idea. So you know what? First thing, swing on the guard. First thing you need to do.
Yeah.
Worst thing you could do, but
yeah. Like, cause I've heard that before. Like, I've been to jail. I've never been to prison, right?
Yeah.
But I've heard that before. That genuinely, I mean, some of the stuff you see on TV is real. It's just elevated, escalated, right?
Yeah.
Those cases happen. But like you said, it's being authentic.
Yeah.
Because if you come in there trying to act hard, there are people who will show you're not hard.
Yes.
It's more or less like that. Am I right?
Yes. You got to initially go in there and fight. They're going to send somebody at you. Because they got to figure out which what they call the 3 Fs, the fight, F, or bust a 50.
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out which one you're going to be.
Yeah.
So if you go in there, you go and handle your business, they tend to not mess with you. And then you find out how segregated it is, right? It's about your color. No matter how cool the white guy is, at some point when this race war goes down, you better pick the right side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so those things I started learning the rules of how to survive there. Get a job, go to school, time pass. I got with an older guy who taught me a lot of stuff, and he showed that. But there was a point where all of that started getting in me. I got bigger. I got with a boxer who was an outside boxer, started training with him, got into a couple scuffles, and I realized, I got these hands now. And I remember going to where they Walls unit where they do the executions. Well, you have to go through transit there. And I remember there was a guy that had life who was a hall porter, and he was transporting. I was selling a book to get some food because I couldn't make commissary because I just missed it. And he took my stuff and didn't bring my money back. And I threatened him. And I told him when these doors rolls, I'm going to break your face. And I was sitting in there in my bed before lunch. And something in my head was like, boy, have you lost your mind? That man got life. He has nothing to lose. I'm sitting there. I'm like, in the next 2 years for sure, I'm gonna be home.
Yeah.
The door rolled, and I walked out, and I was like, and he was sitting down there, just like this. And I walked past him, and I didn't say nothing. About 3 weeks later, we ended up getting a conversation that I found out he had knew some people where I was from, and he told me, he said, "You remember that day you were telling me you were gonna break my face?" He said, "You're a big dude. I don't have time for this, and I'm gonna be here forever." He said, "I was going to kill you." He said, when I was sitting down there, I had that thing tucked right up under my legs. And if you'd have walked up to punch me, I was going to jab you 4 times and then get it done. I said, thank you, God. You got that out of my system.
Yeah. And you know what? And so that you mentioned saying, thank you, God. Did you have a religious base before you went in? And how did you?
I was raised in the church, but, you raise a child and you train the child in the way to go in the nation of the poor, right? But so, in there, because it's so spiritually based, everybody gets to God in there.
Yeah.
But there was a true revelation in me because I started losing things. Like my mom lost her leg, my aunt died, my grandma died. These things are happening. So I'm having a real conversation with God, like, no. And then I saw a guy die in front of me. Saw a couple riots, people get stabbed. But a guy literally just talked to his family, was finna go home in 2 months. Walked past me, had a heart attack down on the fence. I was done. I said, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Get me out.
That is something
that broke me.
Yeah.
That is something I can relate to. Like that TV stuff.
Man,
that's a bunch of BS. When I've experienced more than once seeing life literally leave a body. Man, there is nothing like that.
Oh no,
you literally see life leave a body.
Yeah.
I'm talking about eyes open, pupils dilate like this, like you see, and you hear, like it is. There's man, listen,
hey, bro,
there's nothing like
it. It's you know what, and it's funny. It's just like you can feel the spirit lead that person. It's just like that. What was in that person is gone.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, man. I was with my boy. I was back home, man. I just came home, and my boy said, "Hey, man, let's go to the club downtown Memphis." I said, "Okay, let's go." Saw a buddy in college, man, and you know we chopping it up, man. And all of a sudden, I saw him over there. So I'm gonna holler at my boy before he leave, man. Seen him in a minute, and it just within seconds he got shot up and he was gone. And I'm yeah.
You have that, and so the thing is that when you experience that loss, right, and that loss affects you. Were you afraid that you might not make it out now because watching everybody that you know outside lose lives and things like that, but then also watching people on the inside pass away? Was it a fear that you would never get out?
Yeah, I cried all that night because I thought I could die in here literally, and it don't have to be by hands in the body. It could naturally just go. Because that guy had done nothing but get ready to go home and had a heart attack.
So let me ask you this question. How long did it take you to say, you know what? I've been forgiven. Even though nobody else may not be forgiving me, but I'm forgiven. And I'm not going to carry this, regardless what outside people say, what outside people think. How long did it take you to transfer into that? Or did you even have to transfer into
it? It is, but you don't realize that. See, during the time, you don't, because everybody there becomes sort of like each other because we start to relate and all that stuff. So you don't realize that whatever crimes and whatever punishment we're facing, we don't really look at it because we've become conditioned. Even the guards have become conditioned. We all gather here these days and do this and move it. It wasn't until I came home. Because mind you, at this point, nobody ever pointed my crime in my face.
Right.
It wasn't until I was released, come back to my hometown, and now the chatter started.
Right. Because there's no context. You're a convicted felon, and that's it. You like everything you've done before was either a mask, a facade, a show. It wasn't you. You want,
Now I had to face. I had to face the chatter.
That's a
and all the stories. Because see, none of the stories were accurate because it didn't happen where I was from. I went off to college and this happened. Gotcha. So nobody actually had the actual story.
Right. As far as they know, you took it.
One story was I took her, tied her to a tree.
People create the narrative.
I was like, what?
For sure.
Then another one was I picked her up from school and kept her and took her away from her folks. It was just so many stories. Like,
now how'd you get through that? Because I know that's a hard mental thing.
I was angry. I was freaking angry
all over again.
Yeah, because now I'm to them I'm some sexual predator, and I'm this molester. I'm this and other, and I know I'm not. The people that know me know I'm not, but it ain't the people that know me that's chattering. It's these folks that think they know, and they're making this happen. And now at this time, I'm trying to find my footing, find my way. You know what I'm saying? Be around my children. You know what I'm saying? And I'm angry. And I remember my brother telling me, "Listen, brother. I get it. You are. I know you, so I know what you're not, but they don't.
Right.
So they're gonna believe what they believe." I was like, no. And as I'm starting to trying to figure life out, fall into stuff, I started doing the acting thing, leaving my father's company. I remember one situation that happened. I had just moved to, and Amy for sure can attest to this because that's why I appreciate and love her to this day. I started making a name for myself here early. We're doing a show. They were doing a biography on the cast. And I, at this point, I hadn't really talked to nobody about it at all, but like maybe two people. And the lady pulled my background up and found it. It's not coming to me. She went to everybody else. So we're getting ready to do the show, and people are trying to pull from the show. Amy was directing the show. And I just remember pulling up, and I'm getting all this feedback from it. And folks don't even want me there no more. You know what I'm saying? Because they think who I am. Yeah. And I remember Amy walking me in the building, and she spoke and said, "Listen, you can think whatever you want to think about this man. If you don't know this man and you ain't trying to get to know this man, then you don't need to have an opinion about this. But I tell you what, this show is going to go on. If me, him, and the writer of this show got to do this show by ourselves, that's what we'll do." And the writer stood there, who's Boutique Banks. Amy stood right there, and I stood there. And I just had this look on my face. And people started to kind of sit out there, and some walked out. And then
I couldn't even imagine, because you might ask, well, how old are you?
I'm 42 now.
Right, and that's going to always be with you. I mean, do you ever get exhausted of trying to explain yourself?
No, because my mentor one day told me, he said, if you're tired of people talking, you tell the story.
Yeah.
So for a year,
Yeah.
I went to every podcast, I went to every live, and I talked about it. Because at this point now, the transition has happened. I've accepted it. And now I'm not arguing the law. I'm arguing the semantics of decision making.
Right.
Because now I'm getting parents saying, my child is caught in this. How do you deal with this? Because at this point now, they're seeing me make some headway about life.
Right.
I'm getting through. I'm surviving. Yes, I'm registered, but I'm a low risk, so it doesn't poke out. You have to kind of research it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like science sitting in front of my yard and stuff like that. So, and now I'm talking about it. So parents are coming to me. Now they're bringing me into these youth groups and talking. Now when I'm dealing with things, I'm saying to the parents, listen, this is my situation. Parents said, listen, I'm not worried about that. I've seen you. I need you to talk to my child. He's dating a younger. So
Right.
this is what's happening now.
Right.
And I'm like, oh.
How did it affect your dating life before you got married? How did it?
So the thing I would do is I would let people meet me before they met my situation. And I would let them. So if I was dating a girl, I meet her, take on a few dates. About that third day, after she's kind of seen me, my character stuff, I would say, all right, I got to talk to you about something. I went to prison back at the age of 20 years old, back in 2002 to 2000. Well, the case happened in 2003, but I ended up going to prison 2003 to 2007 for sleeping with an underage girl at the college where I was going to like that. And then I would pull it up. I'm going to show them. And at that point, majority of them went, wow, thank you for your transparency. Cool. Thank you. Some of them would go, appreciate you telling me, but I got kids. Can't take the chance.
Right.
And then what I didn't know is somebody brought to my attention is every year my age goes up. If you don't pay attention to the date that it happened, her age stays the same. So if you don't look and see that's back in 2002, you would go, wait a minute.
You're 40.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay.
My year, it updates my year every year.
Crazy.
But it doesn't update her year.
So let me ask you about that. From what you have learned about the system and everything else, why is that in your opinion?
Why is that?
Yeah,
because,
I'm asking an obvious question, but
because it is to paint the narrative of it. It's to say we want people to two things that are happening right here in the United States, right? The two things that happen. One, there's a party that wants to exile predatory behavior, but then there's another side that is actually wanting to legalize pedophilia.
Yes, yes.
Wow,
they do.
Dude,
There is a side that wants to legalize pedophilia. They're saying it's a natural.
They're going through the mental health field also to do
that.
Yes.
Because anything that you want to make legal, you have to make normal.
Right.
Because remember, in the DSM-5, originally, homosexuality was a mental behavior. It was considered a mental illness.
Yeah.
Right. So they are going through the facts of saying that it's normal for a child and a adult.
And right now, abnormal normal.
And right now, the letters of LGBTQI, they're trying to add another letter for that. So again, like you said, the more normal you make it, then we can take it out of this taboo thing.
What is one of the first things you do to make it normal? Is you start to let kids decide their gender.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're saying.
Yeah. You.
Yeah.
Blowing me because you know what, you massage people, you let them, and your eyes are the worst thing. If I can, you know what's crazy? Put it on TV enough, all of a sudden it becomes normal because you see it every day. So you're like, okay, that's normal.
Yeah.
Because before, if we grew up, and not to jump subject, homosexuality, man, what you get the brakes beat off of you. But when it got on TV, if you notice, every gay person was always happy. They was always happy in that situation. So, I can only
That's why they pushed it to the influential people to come out. Sports players, actors, teachers. Because they wanted people to accept it. So those people you couldn't go against because now the younger minds were impressionable to say, okay.
So do you know what this lady is now? Have y'all? I mean,
no. So we actually, so a team. I had talked to my team and we thought about doing this because they have to let you know that he's coming. So two things that I wanted to do by doing this is one, see where things were if the parents are alive, and let them know I didn't have any animosity toward it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then just tell them, just feeling. And I wanted to ask questions basically how mom felt because she said something that was very significant, but kind of I thought was turning into the courtroom by saying, I don't know, because he's not who I thought he was. Mm-hmm. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I just really wanted to gain a sense of how she felt through that process.
Yeah, because that could have been either way.
It could have.
It was a very gray area saying that.
But she had a testimony before she said that, right? Like,
so she got on the stand, and the DA just asked some, other questions, her name and different things like that. And then the last thing, the first real question into the case, she asked, "What do you feel should happen?" Because the mom was the last person to come up.
Oh, okay, so she didn't give an inclination of. She's made that statement.
Yeah, because they didn't really have to dive in to do because they had all the evidence they needed from my mouth.
No, I'm saying I'm saying when you said she made that statement, the way I received it was her saying, "Well, I get this news about my daughter having sex, period, is traumatic enough. Older gentleman, as a parent, you're looking at him being a predator because of maturity level, what's perceived as maturity, right? So there's already the angst towards you already, right? Mm-hmm. And so when she said that, my thinking was that she was like, I'm going to use these adjectives to make the point. My thinking was, he's an animal, but now that I sit here, maybe he's not, so I have doubt, right?
Totally agree.
I'm guessing, I'm thinking that's where she came from, but because there's no precedence, her setting the image of what she thought about you, we don't know. But my assumption was, I didn't like him at first. I can't say that I like him now because this is my child I'm talking about, but he is presenting himself in a way that I didn't anticipate. That's the way I received it. No
argument there at all.
So now, coming out of prison, having to come back into society, and now you have to, be a man and take care of yourself. And I know you mentioned that you were an actor. Now, what was it hard for you to find work before? Or was it?
No, my dad actually owns his own company. He owns a tire service for tractors, diesels, and all that. So I came right home and went right. I got on a Friday, went to work Monday. Mm-hmm. Got into the truck with my cousin, went through training, and I end up in my own truck, so moving. So that's what I was thankful for, and I think it's so important to have a foundation. I had family. Yeah, I had support. Right, yeah. Like I had money in there, all that. I got letters, you know what I'm saying? I got visits all the time. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that part wasn't a struggle to me because I had people.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? And then going back to my father, I immediately went to making back $600 a week.
So you went back to Tyler.
Yeah, I went back to Tyler.
Yeah, man, that had to be a small town whispers and all that.
It was, and I'm a loud person.
Yeah,
because anybody know me, my personality is bigger than this room.
Yeah,
got you.
You know what I'm saying? You can hear me coming 100 miles away because I just love people and I love having fun. I love entertaining.
Now you're an actor. You say you're an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how long you been acting?
So now I've been in the 12 seasons, like the last 5 full time.
What season? I mean, what show are you in?
Well, I'm saying just in my season, for years. I've been in 12 years. Okay, last 5 years full time. Okay. But one of the scariest things is one of my ex told me. She said, "I think you're gonna be great, but I'm afraid for you to go big." And I never thought about that. And she said, "You never asked me why I said that." I said, "Because I felt like people were going to come at you once you did it." And now you're thinking about, I've done work for ESPN. I've been on tour with Fred Hammond. I've been on reality shows. I've been on BT. I've done a number of things. And in my head, I've always said, man, what if that does happen? Mm-hmm. What am I going to do?
I think you probably take care of what you said earlier because you've gotten out in front of it, man. Because, secrets become news when they're secrets. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I think some of the things that does scare is going in front of a new audience because now every time I cross over, I get a brand new audience that I hadn't said this in front of.
Yeah,
right. You know what I'm saying? Because even like right now, you'll go to Tubi, man, and them Tubi groups, they post me so much. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I remember because I've been playing this crazy character for these last few movies, and it was a post that came up and said, hey, man, don't ever break up with this dude or lie to him because you're gonna pay the consequence. And they just had a picture of me just like this.
Right.
You know what I'm
saying? Since you brought it up, when I looked at the marquee, I was like, yo, we really want this. Right. You wasn't the jovial cat on that picture, man. You were sending a message, bro.
So what got you into acting, man?
Well, shout out to DeMarcus Bailey. I wanted to be a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Hey, I used to act up so much. My teachers was like, listen, you just shut up for the whole class. I give you the last 15 minutes. I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but God works in different ways, man. And ended up, he wrote a show. Unbeknownst, I was dating his sister. I didn't know he had a sister because me and him grew up around each other. And he had a show coming out, and his mom and the sister was like, well, you should put him in there. You know, they just needed a comedic character. I got in there, jumped in, and my 15 minutes of fame was over. But what ended up happening was a week before the show came out, the lead got quit. Mm-hmm. And so they called me and was like, hey, listen, can you think you can do this? And this is what we'll pay for it. And at the time, before I met Amy, and we used to just rehearse the whole show every rehearsal. Mm-hmm. And I went in there, didn't have no script, and started doing it out. And the director was like, read the script. So I told him I know. So my knack quickly was picking up scripts real quick and just remembering, retaining information. Mm-hmm. Did it, show came out, they ended up signing 3. Miss Evelyn came down from Dallas, sprouted me in, and I never looked back. I never looked back.
Wow.
You know?
That's amazing, bro. I mean, you know what? It's a true testimony. And, you know, we all, when we go through something, we got to give back something, you know, and you're giving back. You're educating people. You know, I've been through a divorce, and I had some guys say, man, how you do it? I said, you don't want to. That ain't what you want, bro.
Right.
You know, and I'm just shout out to you, bro. Big hands to you, man, for just being brave enough and not holding that any anger, any animosity, but educating people, because we're so uneducated as people. And I'm not just talking about black people, every people. We're so uneducated, and because nobody's telling their story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just a whole bigger picture, because, you know, a lot of the things like morality is getting eroded because people are left up to their own devices to create a narrative that they want to create.
Exactly.
Because they're not educated on a situation where, like, you know, one of the things, I know we talk about your situation, but it's imperative for people to gain knowledge, because, you know, when you don't have it, you can't speak to it. And a lot of people, like in a lot of situations we are in now as a country, a lot of people will take advantage of your ignorance, and they will teach you what they want you to know without arming you what you should know.
Facts. Okay, man, I'm the silly one on here, man. So you say you're a comedian. You got a joke. I need a joke, man. Let me take it back with me. Because I'm with him. I'm that dude. Let's hey. I'll let him tell the joke.
Man, who got jokes, man?
Let's see.
Listen.
Okay. Real quick story. I was on the set one time, man, and I always do something crazy. So we're shooting a movie called Love and Drugs, and they're getting ready to do this sex scene, right? And we in there. So the girl and I in the shower area, they setting up for it in the room. So when we get out of there, we getting ready to get dressed, and I'm like, man, we about to do this new scene. What you get dressed for? So I was like, well, we'll go out. So she goes out first. So all the men in there are talking. So I come out, and I ain't got nothing but everything out. DeMarcus goes, wait, what are you doing? Put it up. I was like, what? He's like, why you got that out? I was like, I'm about to get naked anyway. Not yet. Hey, everybody, stop. That's gay. Go back in there.
I told you,
I was like, I didn't understand. I'm like, in the next 3 minutes, y'all would tell me, take this off.
Yeah.
Why? I just got to shout.
Was that your first scene?
Yeah.
So in the sex scenes, y'all see you really naked in the sex.
So in the Love Drug, we was nude. The last scene would be no girl in the bed. It was totally nude.
Yeah. Wait a minute, I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah.
They'll be saying, cut. Not yet. Keep filming.
Cool. That's why I say, man, I couldn't marry actors.
Yeah. And it's crazy because she was actually looking at the time. She was looking to get into porn, so it was funny because she was kind of like, hey, whatever, whatever we do, And what was crazy is because I was like, I'm not gonna do this, but they end up. We got through. They ended up coming back to me like, "Hey, we gotta reshoot it. Yeah, it was all in the camera. We can't leave that like that. You got Snoop Robinson was like, we can't leave it like that. You got to come back and shoot this. It was just in the camera. So, that's my. moment.
Well, hey, listen,
I like it, bro.
You had never been in that scene before, so you don't know no different.
I'm come prepared.
Yeah, it is like,
I didn't have to get ready.
We get naked, right? Let's
get
naked.
Man, I'm trying to go to acting school, T.
No, hey, man, the thing is, though, I did as we get ready to close out, man. I wanted to know because now as you are being a successful, man, you're out here paving your way, making your way in acting, doing different jobs, and being able just to make your star rise. How do you manage your mental health during this whole time? Because again, there is always this thing that feels like. Do you still feel like something is chasing you, even though you have dealt with it?
Therapy, because I battled depression for a minute. I was a single father for a long time, raising a son who battled mental illness. So on top of trying to do the acting gigs, travel, tour, and be a father, I had to figure stuff out because he was really battling bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He was misdiagnosed and things like that. So I had to go through a lot of therapy because I was battling a lot of depression. You know what I mean? At one point, it got so bad for me with it. I got up to over 300 pounds, contracted diabetes, and almost died, for lack of better words, like the first time I went to the hospital. So I started, and then the thing that I never really talked about is the dealing with the projection from people. Mm-hmm. There were some girls who were SA who took that out on me. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not the guy that done it, but y'all are all alike. What? I started running through that at a period of time where girls were approaching. Yeah, I was getting messages. I would get messages. I would get confronted. All that to some girls I had never even interacted with, and they would project that onto me. So that was a period I was dealing with my son's mental illness, girls projecting, attacking, accusing, pushing at me, not accusing me, but pushing at me because of what they went through, and they felt we was all alike, and trying to still make a living and make a way. But hiding all this. That's why my first part of my documentary is called Suffering in Silence. Because nobody knew it. I'm still going to the promo tours. Struggling bad, But I was trying to figure it out. And it was therapy that brought me through that, man.
We talked about that in another show, how men suffer in silence.
Yeah. And I was bad.
The outside didn't look like the inside.
I was Thank you. Go back to the room, go in the dark and just cry.
Why did you feel like you had? I'm sorry. No. Why did you feel like you had to suffer inside?
One, I didn't want to be accountable for where I'd gotten because I was sick, and it was on me. I stopped taking care of myself because at one point I was great health, and then I didn't want to feel like it was a burden because now I'm constantly going through all this circumstance and struggle of life, and I feel like every time I got to say something to my brother about it, I'm just bringing more bad energy to him and. You know what I'm saying? But the first thing I want to be accountable because most people going through stuff when they're struggling with something that they can get a hold of is people saying, you have got to, you need to, and we don't want to hear that. You are more than being informed, you are offended. I didn't want to deal with being offended from the information given me that I should have been aware of to hold me accountable of. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I struggled with. Why I kept it in silence.
Yeah. We can bring you back for a whole show.
Yeah. I love that. And I think a lot of times is we have to understand there's always a story behind somebody's journey, right? We get the outcome and we say, okay, this is who this person is. But a lot of times we don't get the story behind it. And that's why we're glad you was able to come on and tell your story behind it. And also tell and show who you are, right? Yeah. Because I think, like you said, going back to your hometown, the whispers and the stories that were made up about who you were is different than actually who you were. And so I think we have to make sure and keep that mindful, especially amongst our brothers, right? Because as men, we can do that to each other. And a lot of times we don't have nowhere else to turn but to each other to either have some comfort and be able to say, hey, listen, I might not have went exactly what you went through, but I understand this because I went through this, or I know somebody. And a lot of times we can stop each other from suffering in silence, keeping that stress away, high blood pressure, and all those silent killers, right? And so that's why having somebody like Corey on to tell his story. But hey, I went through this. It's the old Jay-Z line. So hopefully you ain't got to go through this, basically, right?
Hov did that.
Yeah, Hov did that. So hopefully you ain't got to go through that. So with that being said, man, projects you're working on, anything you got?
Oh, man, it's crazy. Shout out, just wrapped up in Houston, man. Don't miss the bus with Hype South. Just finished Big is Beautiful up. getting ready to go into Christmas in the Hood, getting ready to go into the 5th member, getting ready to go. Got a release of Get Back Up with my son in there, man. I'm very excited. Him and I just wrapped the movie together that comes out October the 29th. I'll Get Back Up, which he's a bully in. Working on, so I teach acting classes now too. Is really excited about that because we're getting to work on our first series in that. Then I go back to New York to work on the auction with my people. That's a story about sex trafficking, man. So we working, man.
You busy, bro?
Man,
you busy?
I don't get another break until June.
My man.
Sure.
Hey, man, you know what?
I always say it's better being busy than not busy.
Yeah,
that's a good thing because right now you are actually living what you dreamed.
Yeah.
So you know what? Stay awake, my brother. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
Keep excelling, man. And also, like I said, keep telling the story because you see how much what you went through has been used as a teaching tactic for everybody else, man.
Can I just say this too? I want to thank y'all. I want to thank anybody that comes on and let me talk about this because I think this is one of the hardest stories to talk about because initially when people hear it, they go because first thing people think is about their kids. Mm-hmm. So, sometimes until you get the context, you're like, oh, let me hear how this goes. Because it could be a situation where somebody's telling a story that makes it really uncomfortable if they hadn't dealt with the demons inside of the story already. You know what I'm saying? So I thank y'all for even opening this door to allow me to speak on this because I know it's a tough situation.
Well, no problem, man. We appreciate you coming on. As you guys know,
Corey, don't send this picture to I'm serious. I was looking at Charles Manson.
Boss, you want that or you want the sex?
Let me do the plug. I'm sorry. I got 3 shows this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Y'all catch me at Cornerstones. It's going down. Me, Shay Wheaton, Draper Winston. You know what I'm saying? It's going down. I got it across my page. Make sure, man, y'all can make it there. We got a 7 o'clock show on Friday, 7 o'clock on Saturday, and 10 o'clock show on Sunday morning. So, man, check it out. It's going down.
All right. That's Corey Ashby. Heard it. Corey Ashby right here on Toxic is the New Masculinity.
Well, man,
yeah, I see that.
You're good people, man. You said right.
You're good, bro. Look, baby girl's like, Daddy, can I go? No.
Hey, tell them either that or the sex scene picture. Which one you want, bro?
Hey, listen, Toxic is the New Masculinity. Thank you guys for checking out the show. Thank you. Hey, understand, Toxic is the New Masculinity is just a conversation amongst men to let you know that masculinity is not toxic. We might disagree with you. You might disagree with us. But give us a little bit of time. We're going somewhere, all right? We got something to say. We just want to be heard and understood. But we're not toxic. We'll see you guys on the next edition of Toxic is the New Masculinity.